Hi, my name is Steve Jaros. I'm the studio creative director at Volition and the lead writer of the Saints Row franchise, and I'm here to go and talk about Saints Row Gat Out of Hell. Yeah, we announced two products. We have one, the Saints Row Re-Elected, which is our new gen port of our Game of the Year edition, so it's got all the DLC, and so for now, for the first time, you can play Saints Row 4 on the PS4 and Xbox One. And another thing that we're really excited about is Saints Row Gat Out of Hell, which is a standalone expansion where you get to go and play as Johnny Gat and Kinsey as you go on an Orphean journey to save the boss's soul. So you get to go and travel to hell, and it's all open world shenanigans. You can play all by yourself. We're selling it for 20 bucks, and it is a raucous ride full of musical numbers and a bunch of other wacky shit.
So talk a little about going to hell. What was your inspiration? How did you guys research that?
Well, it's actually Disney. Disney was a big inspiration for us. When we first decided on the subject matter, the way we kind of got to that was we knew we wanted to go and make a standalone game. We knew it didn't want to be Saints Row 5. So it's like, okay, what do we want to go and bring over? Well, obviously people love superpowers, so we want to go and give them that. And then we also knew we had to go into a new city, because we did Steelport 2 times before. So now it's like, okay, where can we have superpowers? What's the new location? What are we going to go and do? Hell makes sense, and then we started thinking about that. There's that iconic image of Captain America punching Hitler, and then the thought of, like, you know, Johnny jacking Satan in the face is just innately funny. It made everyone smile. So then it's like, okay, and we want to. Johnny Gat's got to go to hell, and he's got to punch Satan in the face. And then we thought about what is our take on hell? What does that mean for us in Saints Row? And that's when we took a page from Disney movies. I'm a big Disney fan, and so this kind of became like our homage to fairy tales. So, you know, it begins with like an opening up of an ornate storybook, like in Sleeping Beauty or a Cinderella, and you have a narrator talking about once upon a time, and there's this whole setup and spiel, and along the way our tone all comes from that. So our main plot is Satan's daughter is being forced to marry the President of the United States from Saints Row 4, and she doesn't want to. She wants to go and choose her own love of her life and not be forced to marry someone she doesn't want. We have a musical number. In Disney movies they always have like animal companions and like talking stuff. In our game we have a talking gun, and so it's all like these kind of fun homages to Disney tropes and things like that.
So how does the talking gun work from a gameplay perspective?
So we have, amongst all of our weapons in hell, we also have 7 items that are weapons modeled after the 7 deadly sins. So for instance, for Sloth, we have an armchair with machine guns and shoots rockets. And for Pride, we have Gallows Dodger, the embodiment of murder, and he's a talking gun who will talk to you and encourage you as you're going and shooting people, and then he like gets more powerful as he kills people. And then along the way, if like you're idling with him, he'll go and tell stories about all the people who used to own him and what's it like being a badass gun who's lived for the centuries. And he'll talk about, oh, like back I used to be a rock that was wielded by a caveman who like hit someone for eating his meat, or oh, in the French Revolution I was wielded by blah blah blah. And so he's got all these different stories of people who owned him as this wacky talking gun.
What are some of the environments you guys are bringing to life in hell?
We have 5 discrete islands in hell, and each one has their own kind of vibe. We have like a downtown area, an entertainment district, a barren wasteland, kind of like an industrial forge area, and so each one feels very distinct, and slums, and so each one has its own kind of vibe. Some are very hyper modern and like weird skyscrapers and floating buildings. Others are really like decadent and debaucherous. Some are like craggy and full of lava, and others are just really kind of depressed and like industrial. And so we try to have these different aspects of it to make each area feel real special and stand out.
What kind of entertainment is there in the entertainment district?
Well, it's naughty, it's hell, there's all sorts of things. So it depends what you're into. There's lots of things to be found.
Vehicles have always played a big role in previous games. How are you incorporating them into this game?
Well, it's interesting because once you start introducing things like superhero, like flight and super jumping and super sprinting, vehicles kind of take a back seat sometimes, right? So what we did in Saints Row Gat Out of Hell is to go and encourage people to go back and try to play around those vehicles. We introduced diversions that you can enter only when you're in specific vehicles. So for instance, if you're in an ambulance, like an ambulance in hell doesn't make a whole lot of sense, so it's a rambulance, and in hell you try to run people over and cause more torment. So if you're in an ambulance, you can hit a button and start the rambulance activity, where you try to go and run over tortured souls in hell to get bonuses. Or if you hop into one of like the evil monster trucks, you get a mini game where it's about running over cars, or cars that pedestrians drive on. There's some of them that are just lit on fire and explode the moment that they touch anything, because this is an awful car. And so if you hop in that thing, a minigame begins where you're trying to race and see how fast for how long you can survive without the car blowing up on you. And so we try to incorporate these game modes that incentivizes you to go and hop into vehicles, because otherwise you're going to be flying around and swooping through overpasses in between these floating buildings and shit. So we really try to give you both reasons to traverse in either way.
So for the other game, talk about what Next Gen opened up for the experience for Saints Row 4.
Well, Next Gen, we started incorporating some of the new features like voice commands. In PS4, we have more sharing of social experiences, which is great for Saints Row, because it's full of the customizable character and the kooky shit you go and do. So being able to share that with your friends is pretty great. And generally speaking, you know, it performs a little better, it looks a little prettier, and it's just really a way for us people who've never had a chance to go and experience Saints Row can now go and do that on new gen systems.